China is no longer accepting every scrap of raw recycled materials from this country. And that's creating heartburn all the way down the economic chain to cities right here on the Gulf Coast. They depended on the Asian giant as a customer for their recyclables. Now, the cutbacks are creating budget issues. Fox 10 News investigative reporter Brendan Kirby explains.
For years, residents all along the Gulf Coast have been putting their recycled goods in blue boxes like this. But how much of this actually ends up here in the landfill? More than you might think. Even in good times, public works officials say as much as a quarter of the material put in recycling bins ends up in the landfill due to contamination. And China last year dramatically cut back on the amount of mixed paper and plastics it buys from the United States. Local cities are feeling the pinch. Take Daphne, which a few years ago was making money selling recyclables to the Emerald Coast Utilities Authority in Florida's Escambia County.
We were making money, like you said, and then we went even, and now it's costing us money.
ECUA officials say they've processed almost 102,000 tons of recycled materials since September 2016 at the utilities facility in Cantonment next to the Perdido landfill. It's still busy. As many as 14 trucks a day unload product here. But ECUA spokesman Jim Roberts says it's been a struggle. A year ago, if 14 trucks left the property on an average day, 9 would have recyclables bound for China.
Everybody in the recycling industry has felt the impact of China.
No one has been immune to falling prices. Baldwin County, which sells materials collected from 30 drop-off locations, has been unable to sell plastics at all in the current year. Fairhope officials saw the price they get for cardboard fall from a high of about $120 per ton in fiscal year 2016 to a low of $35. It averaged $45 per ton last year. Although prices have recovered somewhat from the basement, they remain well below their peak. Public Works Director Richard Johnson says prices have tumbled for paper and plastics. Instead of making $15 per ton selling to ECUA, the city now pays the utility $2. The price Fairhope pays some other companies ranges as high as $5 per ton. But Johnson argues it's an important service, not a business designed to make a profit. And there are other considerations, he says. Anything that is not recycled ends up in Baldwin County's Magnolia landfill at a cost of $30 per ton.
Understand, solid waste is going to be collected by the city for every resident and every business in the city. And whether that solid waste is in the garbage stream or the recycle stream, that cost of collection is always going to be there.
In Daphne, though, city leaders face what Mayor Dane Haygood calls hard decisions. The contract renewal offered by ECUA would translate to a $50,000 expense that the city did not account for when it passed its current budget. One thing Council President Pat Rudisell says is unlikely is another fee increase, considering the current council already hiked the cost of garbage and recycling removal by $1.50 a month. And ECUA's Roberts says one of the biggest challenges for recyclers has nothing to do with the commodities market. It's contamination. He spends much of his time inspecting recycling bins in Pensacola and flagging pet food bags, styrofoam, hoses, and other items that can't be recycled. The strangest thing he's ever seen in the recycling stream? A shark. Brendan Kirby, Fox 10 News.
Mobile Public Works Director John Peavy telling us today that the city has just been notified by ECUA that its fee to send recycled materials will rise from $9 per ton to $25 per ton. That's an additional cost to Mobile of $100,000.